Hi everyone, I'm Anatole and this is...
Mr. Potato again here. My name is Min, but you can call me Potato.
Oh good, you normally don't even say Min, I have to clean that up afterwards.
Oh, I got more professional now.
That's right. Now, this is only the second movie review I've recorded for my channel. This is the first time, however, Min has done a movie review with us. And the reason why, the film that was special enough to get us to do something different is Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Ooh. You should know technically it's Zack Snyder's Justice League, known as the Snyder Cut, but the title of it, the film, is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Ooh, very nice. So, I love the fact that they put his name really big, and actually on the poster it is big. The Zack Snyder's got big and golden and stuff, and then Justice League is a little bit tiny below it.
Right.
But then when it comes to the movie, it's got put in the corner. very like humble. Like Zack Snyder, Justice League.
Yeah. Well, the story of how this film got made and why the original was not the Zack Snyder film has become well known enough that this film can be sold on the idea that it is an auteur film from Zack Snyder. That Zack Snyder now, his vision of the Justice League is the selling point. And the fan community that helped support the idea of releasing this is also, well, they know the material enough, and Zack Snyder has created enough of a rapport with them that you can sell the film on his name, and should sell the film to distinguish it from the film that came out 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember. I think it's five years ago.
Really, that long?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think 2016 was when
Justice League came out. I'm pretty sure I watched it like 2 years ago or something.
But the circumstances which bring us to our review, I think, is worth mentioning briefly, and that is that because of COVID-19, Hollywood has been unable to make any of the big blockbusters for more than a year.
Nope, not moving out.
And HBO Max is a new streaming service. It's been looking for ways to get subscribers to pick up the service, and because of those two conditions, the investment of $70 million more that HBO Max had to pay to get this film completed seemed like it was going to be a good investment for them. And so, fortunately, because the fan support and HBO Max was looking for a nice blockbuster to get more people into the service, all that came together, and now we are here reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. So before we get into any sort of spoiler discussion, we're going to do just general thoughts for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to spoilers. So just your general thoughts, spoiler-free, about this movie.
Ooh, gotta keep the spoiler-free, eh? Oh, gonna be hard. There's so many things I want to talk about it. I guess I'm gonna wait. Let's just say that this one clearly did its job. A good redemption for the show. I told him previously, that when I watched Justice League, the previous version, the original version, they're supposed to be the original one. I feel really insulted, really. I watch it out of boredom. I have nothing to do. I'm watching my baby and my wife sleeping, so I have nothing to do. It's so dark. I turn on Netflix and watch it for 2 hours, and I regret every minute spent on it. It says something. I watch it out of boredom. I watch it when I'm doing nothing, not sacrificing anything, and I still regret it. Nothing bad. It just feels too rushed, and I believe that most of you believe so as well. But here, this one, trust me, believe it. If you haven't watched it, come see it. It's great. It's really. You might think that, oh, I'm not gonna watch the same movie twice. But no, it's not at all. I watch it, and it comes from one surprise to another. Like feeling something similar, but entirely enjoyable completely. Trust me.
Min, you should mention, what is your attitude towards Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder, I love him. Of all the movies I have watched, there's the only one that I rank 10 out of 10. And that is Watchmen from Zack Snyder himself. Well, many might disagree with me of how violent he tends to make it looks like, of how he has a different vision.
He's talking about me.
Yes,
when he says many might disagree, he's talking about me.
I love it though, but actually I understand it deeply though. He is a comic generation. I'm a Vietnamese. We don't have that much Western comics over here. So everything I have from like for example, let's say Dr. Manhattan, all the Batman, and stuff like that is mostly out of Mr. Snyder's vision of how they should look like and act like. Obviously, it's gonna conflict a little bit with you guys who grow up with comics themselves. It was a different time, I believe. And I don't think Zack Snyder is that big of a fan of comics himself, yes?
I'm not sure if he reads the material.
I
He's
believe
read-
if he reads that like thoroughly, he wouldn't make such a big conflict with the huge comic fans like you.
Right. So this is one of my
Possibly.
running criticisms of Zack Snyder. That is, he knows enough about comic books that he can take certain storylines, famous
it work.
ones, and put them into the film. So when he made Batman v Superman, it was a combination of Batman Dark Knight and the death of Superman. And we also see reference to Batman Dark Knight Returns in this film too, in the Snyder cut. And that's not really a spoiler because I haven't mentioned what we see. But he's familiar enough with the comics that he can draw upon some of key storylines. But my main issue is he doesn't seem to know enough beyond a few certain storylines that match his darker vision. And so when it comes to characters like Batman, where we see Batman killing people,
Yeah.
it doesn't really match the conception of the character that
really match.
I think the majority of people have. There are a few who hold to a very ultra dark vision of Batman, but I think that if you are familiar with enough of the material, you wouldn't hold that to be the vision of Batman, the view of Batman. And if you did, you would couch it in a certain way that it would seem like this is an Elseworld tale, or this is a Batman gone so completely wrong that he's maybe completely mental. You would have some justification so that it wouldn't just seem alien to people who are fans of the comic book, and we don't see that with Zack Snyder. So that's Min's general attitude to Zack Snyder. My general attitude to Zack Snyder regarding material is that his vision doesn't really correspond to the characters from the comics. Now, the parts of Zack that I do appreciate are his cinematography, action choreography, music, a lot of the things that come with being an auteur, and I subscribe to the idea that Zack Snyder is an auteur. He's an author. You see a Zack Snyder film, and you can guess that came from the vision of Zack Snyder, and no other person. That is an auteur. Someone that's so unique, you know that that's his film just by watching a few scenes, and Zack Snyder is that. So all those aspects of being an auteur, minus storytelling, minus making a plot without huge plot holes, Zack has. My main problems with him tend to come from philosophical differences and from storytelling ability. Now, that is not my general attitude towards this movie. So my general attitude towards the movie is I liked it, caveat except. So for the most part, I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it much, much more than Man of Steel, much, much more than Batman v Superman, much, much more than Joss Whedon's Frankenstein's version of
Don't put it
Justice
that way. At
League.
least he gave birth to it. Right?
But except for the few moments where I drew exception to, I really enjoyed the film. And I think that's pretty good for our spoiler-free review. So now this is going to be spoilers. Everything after this video, this is about how long are we into it? About 8 minutes. Okay, good chunk. So that's 8-minute brief spoiler-free review. If you don't want spoilers, just stop watching now. Because beginning in a few seconds, when I guess give a thumb up, that's when the spoilers will begin.
But come back later, eh? If you leave now, come back later, please. We're gonna talk more.
Okay, all right. So, spoiler.
Spoiler.
Min, give us your spoiler.
It is
feelings.
great. It changed so many part of it. Like let's say toward the end I count like 4 big difference, with one being the biggest. Let's just say 1. They completely removed the part where Aquaman sit on the road of justice. Remember? The road, Diana.
Oh
road.
yeah.
Yeah, that was that one. Like when he sit on it and blurt out his true feeling about his team. I was like, that is uncalled for. We don't need that. I know he's like some sort of like kings to be and bad history with like the Atlantean makes him kind of hate everyone. And that's fine. You don't have to let him sit on some sort of golden magical rope to blurt out true feeling. That is not necessary. And I'm glad it got removed. It's not that just when I first talk about like Zack Snyder cut, I believe there's only gonna be more thing, not less. But this one, I've been waiting for that to actually complain about it, but it's got removed. I love it that much. 2, the part towards the end where they, you know, try to save the civilian. And like Superman got a mocking show out of Barry Allen for, oh, you're saving one car, I'm saving an entire building. I'm glad they took that away. It's good. It's great. The third one concerning the father of Cyborg trying to sacrifice himself to signify the location, the whereabouts of the evil lair or something. It's great. It is great because it's got great build-up. It's not a contrived at all. Like in the beginning, it said something like, "Yo, this material reacting weird," and the next one it was like, I tried to shoot it with a beam and it's really hot. And finally, he used that very build-up to sacrifice himself for something great. I really like it. And finally, the ending. The ending is completely different from the other Justice League. The time traced back, and that's what I love the most about it, the ending. It's not like, yo, Superman is here, we win. That's it, no. Much more brutal than it. They actually failed for a bit of a moment. And up to that point, the Flash, Barry Allen, it's just like a comic relief. He jokes a lot, he's not exactly all that useful, but that moment washed it all off. For a moment, he proved that he's worth it. This is my sacrifice, and he undo that tiny itsy bitsy stab over the live defeat. And it's great. I love it. I love it.
Are you talking about where he goes back in time?
Yes,
yeah, I love that scene. It's great.
No, because it's exploded. Actually, all the 3 cubes synchronized completely, and it exploded, killing
mother boxes.
Instantly.
Mother boxes.
Yeah, mother boxes.
Yeah,
Sounds so hard. Maybe, you know why it's so hard for me to call it mother boxes? Because of the Martha scarred me deeply. I can't really say the word mother. Well, moving back, yeah, that's the 4th thing that I noticed. It's really different. Something got removed, something got replaced, and generally it made it really, really much better.
Yeah, the introduction of all the characters is very different. So in the original, we see Batman, not the original, but I mean the Joss Whedon version, the version we saw originally.
It's very hard to call which one is original now.
Yeah, right. It's confusing. Batman is fighting a parademon, and Batman's already aware that something's happening, and so he uses a criminal, the fear of a criminal, to lure out a parademon.
Yeah.
But
that one got removed completely.
Yeah, yes, we don't get that scene. And then also the introduction of Flash in the Snyder Cut occurs. I'm having trouble with that word.
What is it? Occurs.
Occurs. Yeah.
Like
occurs. Right. When we meet him, he saves Iris, and that's completely boy, I'm having trouble with English right now. Excised from the Whedon cut. So every hero gets a chance to shine in Snyder's version because it's a 4-hour film. He has the space to do that. You don't have to take shortcuts. I think the first time we meet Flash in the Whedon version is when Batman goes to recruit him. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's it. So it's just like, yo, I got this like footage of this weird teenager. Let's go get him.
Right.
But here we see more of a backstory. Why he act like that. What he needs. Why he's trying to save this girl, and then like being smart enough to steal a tiny itsy bit of a hot dog so that he can barely get the job of a dog walker.
Right.
To get money. Everything fits.
I'm thinking maybe we see Barry meet his father in prison before Batman. So that may have been the one scene we get in the Whedon version before Batman goes to recruit him. But in this we have an extended sequence with Iris. And all the heroes, all the main characters throughout section 1, I can't remember if they're called chapters or parts, we'll just say part. Between part 1 and part 2, all the 6 main superheroes get their unique scenes so that we have a feeling for who they are. And that's a major difference from the Whedon
connection.
version.
Much better than previous.
Yes.
The other one tried to shorten. It's too much. Like, boom, he's Cyborg. He has cool superpower. He is in the team now. No, it's not gonna work that way. Yeah. And in this one, we have more time. We have more memory with them. We spend more time. So whatever the character do, we are more connected and related to it.
Yes, very much. So that's the reason why I enjoyed this film. I'm like similar to Min. When I first saw the Whedon, what they call the Justice League, because of Joss Whedon. So let's just refer to it as the Justice League. When I first watched the Justice League, it was like, shrug, okay, it's a film. And then I rewatched it before doing this review. So I've seen the Snyder boy, I'm having trouble here. It's been a long day. We just watched the sugar. I'm in the sugar crash now. We just watched the 4-hour
Snyder
version, the Snyder cut. And so we're doing the review after this long day of watching the 4-hour version. But when I've watched the Snyder version after it was released, I think the morning after it got released. Then I went and watched Justice League over the weekend, and then I've seen this film twice. One of the things that really struck me was that most of the new scenes or scenes that were cut was basically Joss, all he had room to do was introduce scenes that would make everything shorter. So if he had to reshoot something, it was to add dialogue that would explain stuff rather than showing it, so the scene could be shorter. If he was adding new material, it was usually he was adding comedy, or in the case of Flash, because Flash and Cyborg, their subplots are so cut they get nothing to do. That you have to introduce this Russian family that Flash is going to save, because now his arc becomes getting the courage to become a hero. So in the Justice League, he has a moment with Batman where he says, I've never fought anyone, I don't know what to do. Batman tells him, just save one person. And so Flash goes in, he saves one person, then he saves another. And so the completion of that arc in the Justice League is that he gets to save a whole family, not just one person, because he has nothing else to do in the film.
But that is just too weak, isn't it? Like, it
It's
doesn't
very
work
weak.
that way. You are a part of a super team, and you're like, no, I'm a comedic relief, I'm laughable. But then you try saving, it is, let's say, heroic, but it's not enough for you to be put in there. A police officer can do it just fine.
Right.
But that's what I really like about this one. It does happen in a different direction, but we do see character growth, especially the Flash. Barry Allen got to shine at the end. It is worth every minute of him being in the cloud of the group.
So the goal for Flash is to please his father. He wants to free his father. His father is in jail for a crime he didn't commit. And he has a conflict with his father because he wants to get into criminal justice. All of it is just to free his father. But the arc of the character here is that he proves that he can be a man. He's no longer a boy, he's going to be a man. And he does that when he's able to reverse time. And when he does that, he stands equal to all the other heroes in the Justice League, because he has an important part of saving the universe. If he doesn't reverse time, the universe is gone.
Yeah, everybody
Everything
dies
is gone.
instantly.
Right, which is completely different from saving a family. Saving a family, you save the life of the family. There's no problem with that. But it's not really good as the completion of a story arc.
But really, like, even that saving the family part was downplayed.
Yeah,
Remember?
right.
Because, like, in the beginning, he saved a family, and then toward the end, a car full of people.
Right.
And then Superman just flew by, saving the entire building.
Right.
Like, you're building him to become a better man by saving people, then why would you downplay the moment like that?
Right, exactly
it's
right.
not worth it.
Yeah, so that's just an example of how we found the differences between the two, where the differences were superior. The decisions in the Snyder Cut were superior to the decisions made in the Justice League. So now we're going to go over the plot. I'm not sure how in depth we're going to go, but give me 1 second and then we'll go into our reactions to the story. Welcome back. Now we're going to go over the plot and give our reactions to the plot. Plot summary courtesy of Wikipedia. It's quite long, befitting a 4-hour film, so I'm not quite sure if we're going to go through all this or
Let's talk about the thing that you remember the most. I think that would suffice.
I don't trust my memory. So here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thousands of years ago, Darkseid and his legion of parademons attempted to conquer Earth using the Mother Boxes. The attempt was foiled by a unified alliance of the Olympian gods, Amazons, Atlanteans, humans, and a Green Lantern. After the battle, the Mother Boxes were separated and hidden in different locations. So this is not, it doesn't occur at the beginning of the film. It occurs somewhere in the first third. It's the Lord of the Rings prologue. So this is where there are many similarities between the Lord of the Rings movies and this version of Justice League, and this is definitely one of them. So the prologue of the film of Fellowship of the Ring includes the giant battle between, I think it's Sauron and the others, and then it includes narration from Galadriel. And so here we have the narration from Wonder Woman, and it's the battle that occurs far in the past, and it's the combined forces of all these different humans.
In that regard, it's really similar.
Yes,
like
yeah.
we used to be united against a greater dark.
Right.
and we won.
Right.
But now, like as time progressed, we're too used to peace out, and human being, the funky creature they are, invented conflict to be entertained.
So what was your feeling about that sequence where they show the first battle with Darkseid?
Lovely, as in it put a lot of, let's say, weight onto what we have right now. As in, they actually hope because they won before. They wounded badly Darkseid. So it's supposed to have seed. Sounds cooler.
It's spelled Darkseid.
If you see the word SEID alone by itself, you would say, "Oh, seed."
It's been a matter of dispute about how to pronounce the name, actually, but because in the film they say Darkseid.
Yeah, they do go side.
They say
Let's go with
Darkseid.
that.
Yeah.
I love it because it shows there is a sense of hope. But actually, the state that we are in right now, how fragmented, how conflicted they are right now, and how small that hope seems to be. So it was quite a great one, and I love that the action scene and all the significant hero, all the battle got a little bit much longer than the previous one. It got cool to see superhero fight anyway.
I have to say that again. I had said that what I think one of the strengths of Zack Snyder is in the fight scenes, the action choreography.
Absolutely amazing.
And there are a few sequences in this film, the fight sequences are longer than they should be, but because Zack Snyder does it so well, and he had the budget to do it well.
We don't mind.
Yeah, we don't mind. We're entertained the whole time. And this scene was one of those. I don't need to see but maybe half of what we saw, but I didn't care. I just enjoyed watching it.
It's great. It's like eyes watching it.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Okay, moving on. Yeah. In the present, Superman's death triggers the Mother Box's reactivation,
that's a good one.
attracting Steppenwolf, one of Darkseid's servants, to Earth. So one of the differences from this version is that we open with the death of Superman, and we hear his yell, and we see the activation of one of the Mother Boxes. So what was your impression of that opening sequence? It's different in this from the original.
It's greatly different, and it's a very nice choice on how to open the movie. If you do exactly the same, it's not going to be that big. But because you know that people are going to watch it like the second time, let's say, so you want to start with something different, and it's great. The slow motion of how the scream, the yelling echoes throughout the world, and what it triggers after, how it affects, how it means to be later on. That is great, as in the true beginning of a beginning. Then it's set up event later.
One interesting difference between Whedon and Snyder is illustrated by the opening sequence. So in the Justice League, it's a video the kids are taking of Superman when Superman was still alive, and they're asking him questions and Superman's answering. So you see there that Whedon was trying to make things a little more intimate, get us closer to the characters. Whereas here we get something very epic and operatic, and we're not close to the characters. Everything is widescreen and large scale, and that we see that's kind of the view that Snyder has for this film. That it's going to be big, it's going to include many characters, and the scope and the stakes are going to be very large.
I think it's very nice that both of them open and end the movie in the same way. Let's just say Justice League.
Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League. It's open with Superman being loved by everyone, and toward the end, he is like undeniably the key to defeat Darkseid. Like everybody relied on him. So open with Superman, end with Superman.
Yes.
But on here, it's quite different though. It's open with everything going big, like the scream of Superman, like going throughout the world, and it also ends that way.
Yes.
It ends in there are more than that. There are more threats, there are more hopes, there are more characters, let's say. So it's lovely that they open and end the movie in the same thing, but different thing leads to different vision.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Okay. Yeah. Next. Steppenwolf, who has fallen out of favor of Darkseid, aims to regain it by gathering the boxes to form the Unity, which would terraform Earth in the likeness of their world apocalypse. So why don't you tell us what your impression is of the difference now in Steppenwolf? What did you think of this character in this
He's
film?
more spiky, and I like it. The first thing I noticed, like, oh, he's spiky and shiny. And I thought, oh, just maybe Zack Snyder trying to make a cooler, more evil villain. But actually, no. All that visual effect got to be in play a bit later. All the arrow got stuck through the Amazonian and got snapped off by the moving of the metal. And then you got moment when he actually got visited by Darkseid, and the armor strip itself away as a form of showing respect.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, just let's talk about character design. It already has improvement to the good part. Like it actually do something, play something. You see it, you know it, and it's great. And I think this villain, this version of Stephen Wolf is a bit more not exactly relatable, but let's say more respectable. He has a clear goal.
Yes.
He executes it. He doesn't get looked down by his friends, but he tried to shrug it off and moving on anyway. I respect him a bit more.
Yeah, you understand what his motivations are,
Yeah.
so that means you're invested in him as a villain, at least interested, rather than just being the
Oh,
bad
a big
guy.
bad guy. Oh,
Yeah,
no, let's
exactly
defeat
right.
him. No, more like, I know why. We have to defeat him, but
Right.
he has a reason to.
Yeah, definitely an improvement. Steppenwolf retrieves a mother box from Themyscira, prompting Queen Hippolyta to warn her daughter Diana Prince, who informs Bruce Wayne. Now, so that brief description doesn't do justice to the Amazon battle.
Yes.
That is my favorite battle in the film. And one thing that's remarkable to me was, as I was watching it, I was like, how many times in adventure movies have we seen this collection of badass women holding the scene on their own? I can't remember a time where you saw that many women in an action film being that badass.
There's that one specifically created scenes of feminine empowerment in the Endgame, but that lasts like a few seconds.
I
or
don't
something.
remember that at all. Okay, so yeah.
There's one like all of them clumps together fighting bad guy, and the special thing is all of them is women. It's not exactly great because it feels like it's forced, and I don't really like it that much.
Right.
But I do understand they try to put women in power and they deserve. It's great though. It's just a bit too much. But I do like the Amazonian battles. They're fighting a losing battle. They tried their best. They hold it. They put up a good fight, I say.
Yeah. And one thing, again, we'll return to the length of the scene. It could have been shorter, but everything was so exciting. And there's a moment where Queen Hippolyta, before she leaves the temple, I think of Artemis, I can't remember. No, the temple of Artemis is where she shoots the arrow.
The temple of security.
Yeah, I don't
the temple of locked in.
Right, where they have the mother box. She turns to a woman who has just sacrificed herself so the queen can leave, and she says her name. You didn't have to give a name to that anonymous character, but because she does and spends a moment, we care, exactly. She spends a moment with her, we care.
It built up more of what kind of a queen she is. She care about it. It's just not like, oh, they are expendable statistic, let's go. No, more like, and then when the whole stadium, when the whole thing collapsed, remember, it was designed to fall, to trap the enemy within, to the sea. Over the ocean, but then she stepped to the cliff, and then she mourned for a moment.
Right.
So you're like, oh no, they're dead. It's not supposed to be like this. She knows it's necessary, but there's like 3 or 4 moments like that. She cared about the one who died, and that built up a lot more character than just the queen of the badass women.
When I saw this, when I saw this scene originally in the Justice League version, I forget, it's forgettable. Like I forgot that scene was even in the movie.
Yeah.
But when I watched this,
it was so bland.
It was a standout moment. All of it, the whole sequence. I was at the edge of my seat. I was invested. I was just blown away. So that difference in length, allowing the scene to play out the way it did, and to have a director who's uniquely qualified to direct these action scenes and cares enough to get us invested in the characters, gives us an 8-minute sequence that I've never seen in a film before.
I think the length of the fight does affect that a little bit as well. We see more of a fight it is. How hard they fought back.
Right.
Like people got cleaved in half here and there, but still struggle to like pin arrow to the bad guy.
Right.
And then they flee. But on the way they're fleeing, they try to accomplish the mission.
Right.
Save the queen, get the box, try to drag him as long as possible.
Even if you hadn't seen the 2 films previously, you understand these stakes are very high because of the sacrifice all these characters are making.
Yeah.
So you don't even need to see the first 2 films to get involved and understand how important this is, because the filmmaker is giving us those moments where the characters are showing us how much they're affected, how much they're sacrificing. You understand this is important. Even if I don't know what this mother box is for or why it's important, I know it's important to these characters and I care about these characters.
Because they're dying protected it badly.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's what's great about, and also the curse about how it's not got released back then. Snyder know by himself that there's no movie prior to this one, so he has to make it work. He has to make people care. So in that way, he intentionally make it longer, but in turn that accumulates with other things he want to do, made the movie overly long and
Right.
got shut down by the studio
Yeah,
itself.
like the cyborg plot, subplot, like all those little things that they get trimmed by Joss Whedon.
It is necessary, but at the same time, it is not going to be there.
Right.
It shouldn't be.
Wayne and Prince seek to form a team of metahumans to protect Earth in Superman's absence. Wayne locates Arthur Curry and Barry Allen, while Prince locates Victor Stone. So, what were your feelings about the three new characters and the way we're introduced to them in the movie?
It's somehow better placement. Like, I love how they got more time. We talked about it already. But the way like Diana and Wade try to find them, it's more natural. Let's say that they have a problem, like Batman tried to see Arthur, but Arthur like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. And he went back, sadly. And Diana was like, how's that going on? We see it's not going the easy way. And it's, for some reason, well, it's exactly the same thing happened back in the previous version. But yet somehow this one seems to be more, I would say, natural and well presented.
Yeah, one thing I commented upon to Min while we were watching the introduction of Aquaman is that, again, another similarity to the Lord of the Rings.
The song.
We're getting more of the world, and the importance of Aquaman is demonstrated to us because we get time to see how important he is to these people living in the village. In the shorter version, we don't get the song, we don't get the people giving the Return to the King, welcome to Aquaman.
Ooh, it's just like our big guy saved it and now he live, let's go. But here, because this movie was made before Aquaman, the standalone movie, so Zack Snyder did a great job trying to give him a certain sense of significance by, when he left, the girls sing. A very sad song, some sort of like going to war song toward your kings or something.
We understand why he doesn't claim his inheritance of the kingdom of Atlantis, because he already has a place where he's protecting the people and the people love and respect him. Why would he bother with anything else when he already has that?
But it actually builds more into the reason why he wanted to protect the Earth in the first place. If you build Aquaman to be like half of this, half of that, then also his resolve to save the world, the land world, let's say, would be half as well. But no, there's this sequel and then that one and then the dependent of the people, and actually give us a feeling that, well, he do care.
Yes, right.
That's a great one.
Yeah, they could have characterized him as someone who turned his back on humanity. Then it would have a harder time trying to show us that he now cares. But we see he does care, but he does it in a small way because he's turned his back on most of the world. But not completely, because it's against his nature. He is a hero, after all. And so because we see the build-up, he is the king of this little village, or at least he's regarded as a hero, a protector of them, protector of the ocean. We can see why he doesn't want to return to Atlantis. And the lights just turned out, so I'm going to change them. Give us 1 second. I'll come back. And as you can see, Min is not here. Because of the late hour, due to the long movie, Min had to leave. He had parking issues to deal with. So unfortunately now, it'll just be me soldiering on to the end. But thank you for staying along for the ride. Now to continue with the plot breakdown. Allen joins instantly while Curry and Stone refuse. However, Stone joins after his father Silas and several other Star Labs employees are kidnapped by parademons seeking the humans' mother box. So this is a good place to talk about the cyborg plotline, the cyborg subplot, and the big difference between Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League is that there is really a substantial plotline for Cyborg, and whether you feel like he should be in the Justice League or not, which is a valid discussion, I think that if you're going to put him in the Justice League, then for one, he's going to be a different character than he is in the Teen Titans. And as I was discussing with Min, in the Justice League, now Cyborg's power level has been significantly upped. If you have the concept that the Justice League is a collection of gods, more or less, Batman I don't think we can consider a god, even though there is a version of him that's called the Bat God. He's still a man with no superpower. The film calls money being a superpower, but still in the end he's a man. Cyborg needs to be the same power level as those other characters. And so rather than just being a half man, half machine, or 1/3 man, 2/3 machine, he is also a god level hacker who can alter matter as long as it's technology, thanks to the mother box, and that's what makes him godlike. He can reverse time on gadgets that have broken down, and so we see him reverse damage to the bat. So like, I can't remember what they call it, the bat nightcrawler. I think it's called the bat crawler, where things are flying through the air, defying gravity. And then for the cassette player that his father put some notes on, he's able to reverse time and put that together again. So as far as the power level, I'm okay if you increase the level, even though it's not how he was in the Teen Titans. I understand the reasoning for that. But in regards to giving him a fleshed out story with his father, his story is completely lacking in the Joss Whedon version. But here we get a complete arc. We get the father showing that the son's concept of him as someone willing to sacrifice his family at the expense of a career is really wrong, because in the end, the father was willing to sacrifice himself in order to save humanity. So the whole time that he was absent in the family, it's because he was pursuing something noble, a goal greater than his own life. And I think we see that the two come to some sort of reconciliation before the father makes that sacrifice. So where the son, Victor Stone, had felt that the father had sacrificed Victor's life at the expense of furthering his project, really he was just trying to save his son. And we can see that complete arc. And it's one of the most emotional parts of the film. So it's good that it's there. And also, I think the acting of Ray Fisher didn't really get to be showcased in the first version, but in here he gets some real scenes, some real challenging emotional scenes, and I think he delivers a fine performance from start to finish, so that was really good to see. The team receives intel from Commissioner James Gordon, leading them to Steppenwolf's army in an abandoned facility under Gotham Harbor, called Stryker's Island, a rough analog for Rikers Island in New York City. Although the group rescues the kidnapped employees, the facility is flooded during combat, which traps the team until Curry helps delay the flood so they can escape. And I think the most significant changes in this sequence is the Flash. He's not given the task of saving only one person, because he's not characterized as someone out of his depth. He's characterized as someone a little bit clumsy and inexperienced, but he has no problems with being courageous and self-sacrificing if he needs to be, and completely changes his purpose within the scene. Stone retrieves the last mother box, which he had hidden for the group to analyze. Stone reveals that Silas used the mother box to rebuild his body after a car accident. Everyone in this film seems to be having car accidents. That's the one part I really critique. Both of these scenes are delivered pretty close to each other within the film. So we see Iris's accident, which occurs because two different people are bad drivers not paying attention, and then we see Victor Stone's accident, which occurs because his mom isn't paying attention. So all this clumsiness is at the altar of the plot, moving the plot forward, and it comes off badly. It doesn't scan well at all. It's quite easy to see it's very contrived. He also reveals that the mother boxes are change machines that unfalteringly enforce the will of their master, destroying or restoring to life without bias, all depending upon who's using it. The group decides, I don't recall them being, they don't have that function in the comic books. They're more sort of smart device and God box, but not really given this sort of tool of science use here that we see in this film. The group decides to use the mother box to resurrect Superman to help fight Steppenwolf. Alan and Stone exhume Superman's body, and so this is the real Frankenstein scene. Frankenstein, now that I'm thinking about it, Frankenstein is a real influence within this film. And the group places it in the amniotic fluid of the Genesis chamber in a Kryptonian scout ship kept in Star Labs. And after Alan activates the mother box, an amnesiac Superman is resurrected, very much the Frankenstein monster here. I'm not a fan of having Superman turn evil. It's another fault I have with the nightmare scenes, is that we are given a glimpse of the future and it's going to be Superman fighting the rest of the Justice League again, like the third time. The first time was fighting Batman, not the Justice League. And the second time fighting Justice League. third time is going to be killing Justice League. So it seems like Scott Snyder, depending upon this trope of an evil Superman or an antagonistic Superman, going to that well too many times for my taste. Lois Lane, who has been regularly visiting Superman's memorial, arrives in time to calm Superman down. So one change between the two versions where I prefer the original is that Lois arrives because she is the secret plan of Batman. Perfectly fits in line with the characterization of Batman. He's always going to have a plan A, B, and C, and it makes it not random that Lois is there. It's not contrivance. It's part of the device, the overall strategy of one of the characters. It's not unmotivated action that Lois is there. In this version, it's set up that Lois attends the memorial regularly, but the fact that she's there at that time when she needs to be is a contrivance. Together they leave for his family home in Smallville, where he regains his memories and reunites with his mother Martha. Steppenwolf attacks Star Labs and retrieves the last mother box, although Silas manages to supercharge the box with laser heat at the cost of his own life, allowing Stone to deduce its location by tracing the residual heat. It's been a long time. Well, not actually but a couple years now. I read the Teen Titans, the new Teen Titans when it came out originally. At one point, I had the entire run of Wolfman, and Perez, and then some. I think I had like 150 issues. I had a real long collection of those, and that's long gone. That collection's long gone. But I reread them again about 4 years ago. I believe there is a sequence or an issue or two of Victor reconciling with his parents because his father is diagnosed with a terminal illness. I could be wrong, but I think we get the trope of the father dying in the comic book as well. Here it's a sacrifice, and it brings about the reconciliation of Victor. And as I already mentioned, that scene works for me. The team fights their way through pandemoniums to reach the mother boxes, but cannot distract Steppenwolf enough for Stone to separate the mother boxes. Superman arrives and overcomes Steppenwolf, but the boxes merge to form the Unity, causing a massive explosion. Alan enters the Speed Force, reverses time, allowing Superman and Stone to separate the mother boxes. As I discussed with Min, that's one of my favorite parts of the film, is when Flash runs through time. He reverses time in order to restore the continuity to the moment before the explosion occurs. So, and in doing so, develops enough energy that he can transfer it to Victor, that he can use that to separate the Unity. I think that when Superman travels through time in the first Superman film, that is contrary to the character. Superman should not be able to travel through time. Flash is the one character. He should be able to travel fast enough. He can do godlike things. He should be able to travel fast enough. He can travel across the multiverse. He should be able to travel fast enough. He can go through time if he needs to. The Flash's one superpower is speed. But that one superpower, I am totally in line with that one superpower having a myriad of applications going up to the godlike ability of traveling through time. I'm okay with that. And here it completes the arc of Flash finding his identity within the group. And because he can find his identity within the group, he no longer needs to pursue a career to free his father. He can do that now through being a member of the Justice League and being a forensic scientist. He's found himself in the group, and we see that moment. And by doing that, the stakes are high enough. Not only do we get the completion of a character arc, we get the saving of the universe through his action. Curry stabs Steppenwolf, and Prince decapitates him. I'm a little iffy on really, do we need Wonder Woman to decapitate him? It's cool, and of the big three, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, it's been established in the comics she is the one that will kill if necessary. So I don't think it's out of character for her to do that. It's just that, do we really need it? Not really. He's gone. Even if the characters don't kill him, he's probably going to get killed by Darkseid. But I'm not completely opposed to Wonder Woman decapitating him. It's neither here nor there for me. Darkseid assures his servant Desaad he will return to Earth to complete his quest for the anti-life equation. After the battle, Wayne Prince and Alfred Pennyworth agree to set up base of operations at the former Wayne Manor that was in the Joss Whedon version, with room for more members. As the team establishes, Prince receives another message from the Amazons. Did she really? I don't remember that. Alan acquires a job in Central City's police department, forensic scientist, which impresses his father, Henry. Stone is inspired by a message from his father to use his abilities for good. So you get the plot, the subplot, sub-theme of the heroes and their families. Curry bids farewell to Mira and his mentor, Nuidis Volko. I'm familiar with that character from the comic books and the Aquaman film. Why can't I say his name? Volko. As he goes to see his father, and Superman resumes his life as reporter Clark Kent and as protector of Earth. And then we get a description of all the epilogues. So there's the Lex Luthor, Slade Wilson epilogue, which establishes a Batman film that we may not come to see, most likely will not see, where Slade Wilson goes after Batman for reasons. I'm sure it'll be detailed within the solo Batman film, the Batfleck film, which will probably never happen. And then we get Nightmare number 3, where we see Superman has gone rogue and killed everyone, so the Injustice Superman. And here we get the Batman delivering the F-bomb, which I don't care for, saying he's going to kill Joker. I don't care for Joker saying he's going to do indecent things for Batman. Don't care for the idea. Oh, the light went out again. Boy, this has been a really long review. The idea of Superman going Injustice, I'm okay depending on how it's set up. But within this scene, the way that Batman and Joker interact with each other, I don't really like at all. And then finally, the last visit by Martian Manhunter. And it's been revealed that Snyder wanted to use the Green Lantern, but the studio said no because they had other plans for the Lantern character. So he went with Martian Manhunter. I'm perfectly fine with Martian Manhunter. I don't have any particular attachment to that character, but I like him enough. I don't mind that we get him instead of Green Lantern. He's a central part of the DC universe, so he's in the Justice League now. I'm okay with that. But the main criticism I have with that is if he's been lurking around since Man of Steel, and he's aware that that the universe is in the stake, the fate of the universe is at stake because the character of Steppenwolf is trying to bring the mother boxes together. All of creation could be, or all of Earth could be extinguished. Why is he not helping then? Why is he waiting till after all that's resolved? It makes no sense. We need to understand why he didn't step in earlier. He's stepping in now because Darkseid has learned about anti-life equation, so he feels the League needs him. But the League needed him. The League could have used him in place of Superman, and we wouldn't have had to bother resurrecting Superman if we'd had Martian Manhunter, because Martian Manhunter was originally created to be the stand-in for Superman when the League couldn't use Superman. When the company felt Superman was being overexposed, you have this Superman substitute. And he's more than that. They've fleshed him out enough. But the power set, he is strong enough, he can take the place of Superman. So I really don't understand why, within the plot, what's the rationale for Martian Manhunter not coming forward earlier? Any event, that's the plot breakdown. So now, final thoughts. I enjoyed it. I still have issues. I don't really feel like he understands these characters, or whatever characters he's presenting to us, the audience, they just don't jibe with my understanding what the characters should be. And so I have a fundamental disagreement with him. But this film is well done. It's entertaining. I enjoyed it. It can stand as a DC Heroes film up until before the epilogues, and then he loses me with the epilogues. So that's kind of where I stand with this film. So I really hope you stay to the end of this review, and whatever your thoughts are, please share them. And if you agree with me or Min or disagree, I would love to hear from you. So if you enjoyed the video at all, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Okay, and that's it. So thank you for watching, and I hope you will join me again on this channel. Until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.
Surprising. Surprising. Surprising.